Greetings to all those who are confined behind the walls of their home, like me. Welcome to Brew with Portia, QuaranTOLD edition. I'm your host, Portia Booker, and yes, this is my real name. Brew with Portia targets those who are curious, eager, and hungry for new information that can aid in their personal and professional development. Malcolm X once said, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." Never stop learning. Be a sponge for the rest of your life. Before I jump into my topic for today, I want to introduce my guest. Welcome, Mr. Dominic Lewis, CEO of Lamont Avenue Wines. Welcome, Dominic.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm loving the wine. I will tell you that. Funny little digression. So when I was a student at Kent State, I did a study abroad to Cyprus, which is a little island off the coast of Greece. And we were able to do a video project on a topic of choice. Well, of course, me being the adventurous one, I decided to do my video project on the oldest wine in the world. So this is kind of fun because it kind of takes me back to when I did that story. I got to travel up this mountain in Cyprus. The area in Cyprus is called Limassol. And this mountain is like a 45-minute ride. Like when you see movies where they have people riding in cars that are like close to the edge and you can fall off. That's literally what I was doing. I was in a Mercedes with some weird taxi driver going up this mountain to do this story on this wine. So fun times. So how is COVID treating you, Dominic?
Great. Actually, the alcohol business is booming right now.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
A great thing. It's a great thing. We're up 400% right now. So the industry right now, to be in the alcohol industry is, it's good for us right now. Just because people are there's nothing much that we can do, really. A lot of people are staying in just drinking. Having little get-togethers at their house. So, for my industry, I'm loving it. And, it's slowing me down with other things that I have going on as far as like being able to sell wine to other restaurants and different things like that. But other than that, I mean, it's been cool with me. I've been, pretty much living my everyday life.
That's great. I mean, I agree with you. I think they released like an article maybe a few weeks ago that said that alcohol sales have jumped up due to COVID. But I'm just like, well, like you said, people have nothing to do.
Please.
Can't go, to the mall, can't go to the bars, can't go to the clubs. I mean, you're literally restricted to being at home or, maybe having a small get-together of less than 10 people. So Dominic, I mean, how did you even get started in the wine business?
It started off, stemmed from my cousin, King Lou, the best DJ in Cleveland, in my opinion. But yeah, my cousin, he was pronounced pre-diabetic and he couldn't drink any more liquor. So whenever he had an event or a wedding or anything like that, we would just drink wine instead of our typical, liquor that we would drink, when I used to go with him to his different events. So we kind of just started this wine movement where we were just drinking wine and we got, our close friends drinking a lot of wine and it kind of just was a thing. And I'm just like, man, we buying all this wine. We need to come out with our own wine, but really just saying it, like not really knowing that I can do it because I honestly thought that it was going to be too expensive for me to get into. But I started doing some research and I got with some people and, I put it together. And and a year and a half later, we have Lamont Avenue.
That's phenomenal. I mean, a year and a half. I mean, so let's walk me through this. So once you decided you wanted to start producing your own wine, I mean, do you have like a local manufacturer here that you go through to get like your grapes and things like that, or?
Yeah, I work with some people, some different people to get things going. But for the most part, I do everything in my shop. My shop is on St. Clair. That's where I do all my labeling and bottling and everything else. So you know, I have a little bit of help, but for the most part, I'm doing everything on my own. I don't have any like partners or anything like that. It's kind of just been a thing that something I jumped into on my own. You know, early on, I was trying to get different investors and different things to help me out, but I was having the hardest time doing that. Just because people thought that the idea of me having my own wine company was just so far-fetched that people honestly didn't believe in it. They were really laughing at me when I said it. So when I was trying to get different funding and different things like that, you know, I couldn't. So I just decided to just, you know, go on this venture on my own. And now that it's booming the way it is, you know, of course, those same people are trying to be a part of it. So.
Of course. That's how it always is.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon when the product is finished and booming.
Yeah, definitely.
But they don't want to put in the blood, sweat, and tears to get where you are now.
Yeah.
So that's always a fun thing. So kind of an off-topic question, but when you produced your first bottle, how did that turn out? Like taste-wise, like how long did it take for you to produce your first bottle?
Well, when I first started doing it, well, I started on YouTube. So I got a lot of different ideas and different things off of YouTube. And I started with that. I started in mason jars, and it came out terrible. I added like way too much, like the sulfites in it, in the yeast to like start the fermentation process when I first started, and it just was terrible. And of course, you know, you just doing things over and over, you know, you perfect it. So, yeah, my first batch was terrible, but once I got it, it was, you know, it is what it is today.
Was it like when you taste something really bad, you just spit it out like, ew, what is this?
Yeah, you know, it was kind of like so ugly when I made it. I didn't even want to taste it. That's kind of how it was. Like it was terrible. Nothing compared to what, you know, is in the bottles today.
Well, trial and error, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So which one did you produce first, the Orchid or the Paradise or the Riesling?
The Orchid was first. I wanted to start off with a sweeter wine just because of my market. So I went with that first, and then after that came the Riesling, and then the Orchid the Paradise was just released March 7th at my event. So that's my newest one, and then of course Summer Edition is releasing next month.
So speaking of Summer Edition, do we get a sneak peek as to maybe what it is, flavor-wise, or?
Only thing I can say, well, I have some here over where I'm shooting from, but I can just say that it's a red wine. It's a sweeter red wine. It's good. It's perfect for the summer, and it's only exclusively for the summer. So it'll go from the end of June until Labor Day weekend, and then after that it will be discontinued. So it'll be something that if you want to get something that's seasonal, like how some companies like do things only for Christmas time or something like that. So it's something like that, but it's definitely good. It's definitely going to be something that you want to get a few bottles of to have to drink now, and then also save.
Save for the winter time, just in case.
Yeah, because every year I plan on releasing a new summer edition. So it'll have, each bottle will have a different year of a summer edition. So, if you're following Lamont Avenue and, supporting them, it would just be a nice keepsake.
That's great. That's really, really cool. That means I'll have to keep that in mind. So when when it comes out, I'm ready. So let's talk about the title of your wine, Lamont Avenue. Did you grow up on that street, or what's the significance behind the title?
Yeah, Lamont Avenue is a street that I grew up off of 93rd and Huff. My grandparents bought that house. They were married 60 years and had 12 kids together. So like pretty much my whole family was raised in that house. The sweet taste of elegance is my slogan. It's on the front of the bottle. I just really try to maintain like an elegant, upscale like type of vibe for my wine and for my brand. So that's why I went with a stretch hot bottle. Like it's just, this stretch hot bottles are really used for Riesling. but I use them for all of my bottles. I went with the metal label instead of a regular paper label that most wine bottles have. And I went with the crystal style cork, and it's also a wine stopper. So most corks go inside of the bottle, but my unique cork is a wine stopper. So it's kind of like out a little bit, and it has a very nice look to it. And it's also universal, so you can use it for any wine bottle. So if you had another bottle of wine that you needed a stopper for, instead of like trying to flip the cork over to try to preserve it, you can use one of your corks from your Lamont Avenue bottle.
Yeah, those corks are not easy to put back in.
Yeah, you kind of when they're fresh, you kind of have to rock them a little bit, but you know, it's just to keep it airtight, so you know your wine doesn't go bad. And then on the back of the bottle, well, my grandfather pretty much raised me. I didn't meet my real father until I was 17. So my grandfather like really taught me and raised me to be the man that I am today. And he passed back in 2013. So I have a dedication to him on the back of the bottle. So it's kind of like, you know, the bottle is nice. The wine is very good, but it's also something that, you know, is a legacy for my family, for the Lewis family.
And that's wonderful that you have that family tie into your business, you know. Yeah. I mean, because I also was one of those people raised by my grandpa, my great grandma, actually. When my mom worked, my great grandmother, God rest her soul, she passed in 2018 at 102. And she was still in her right mind. And one of her favorite quotes that she always that I'll always remember for the rest of my life is, "May wonders never cease." And I always wondered where she got that from, and she got it out of a book, the book called The Game of Life by Francis Scovel Shinn.
Okay.
My great grandma was my inspiration for a lot of stuff that I do, so I can relate there.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people were raised by their grandparents, so you know, those people, well, us, we tend to have, you know, older soul and have different morals and different codes and, you know, different things like that. So ultimately helps us in the end.
I agree. My people talk about my old soul all the time, like, "Oh, you're a lot younger than what we thought." Well, yeah. Well, yeah, my age fools a lot of people, so it's okay. Dominic, I really like your wine. I will tell you that I've tried both the Orchid and the Paradise. And I've had several friends who have come over and tried it already. And my one friend took the last bit of one of the bottles I had.
Yeah, I get those stories. I get those stories every week. You know, people have the wine and they try it and they start sharing it with friends or family, and then their family members, you know, try to take the bottle or, you know, try to sneak and drink it, you know, which is, you know, funny, but, you know, it's good, you know, that people really love the wine. You know, that's the biggest thing, really, that, you know, I have a product that people really like. So.
Yeah, and the thing is, yours is local. And I feel like in Ohio, what local wineries do you think
of? Yeah, most people, I see it's kind of hard just because I'm in that circle now. So, like, I know of all of the, you know, wineries that's in the area. But before that, not many. You know, a lot of these spots, you know, they only market to Cleveland, greater Cleveland areas, or even just the Ohio region. You know, if you follow the different wines, it's like different like Ohio wine groups and different wine festivals in Ohio. But a lot of these companies don't go to the extent to try to like branch out of Cleveland or out of Ohio. It's a lot of like different licenses that go into like shipping out of state. And or even like shipping cases to different restaurants or stores in other states. So like a lot of the companies kind of just play it safe. But with my brand, I have bigger sites for it. I'm actually going to Miami this Sunday to expand. I have a lot of different meetings with some restaurant owners and different store owners, and one of the players that play for the Miami Dolphins, Jerome Baker. We have connected, and we have some business going on down there. So really just trying to, you know, of course, keep the brand going in Cleveland and make sure people get it here, but, you know, try to expand to other cities and states. You know, I feel like it's a great product, and I feel like, you know, people will love it, you know, all over, not just in Ohio.
I second that. It is. I love your wine. I will say that I
Thank you.
had a cup of red wine the other day because I'm on a new, I guess you can call it a diet, or I call it a healthy lifestyle shift.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing is about this new healthy lifestyle shift is I can have 2 glasses of red wine a week. So best believe I've already had glass number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get you some more. We got to get you some more LA for that show so we can keep that going.
Yes, yes, definitely. I seriously enjoy your wine. I do. I'm a red wine girl, but I will try any type.
Yeah, and that's one, and I think my wine is doing that. Like a lot of people who say, well, I only drink red or I only drink white, they tap in and drink. If they only drink the red, they'll have some of the paradise or have some of the reason and enjoy it. So I feel like, my brand is, is versatile. So if you like, whatever, you'll like the other ones. If you like red, you'll definitely drink the white.
I'm excited for you that you're, making those, connections outside of Ohio. Because I feel like that will also help, people learn like, oh, this guy is branded in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah. And I feel like that has a lot to do with my personality. Like I don't, whatever I decide to do, I'm going to try to do it at the highest level. If I can't do it at the highest level, I won't do it. So I feel like if me jumping into the wine business, I couldn't just stay in Cleveland. Like I have, my sights for everything in my life is top notch. So I won't just settle just for Cleveland.
I hear that. Never settle for anything. So Dominic, I know, a lot of people try to judge wine based on the cost, to say, oh, this wine is good based on it costs $50 or whatever. But what makes a wine a good wine outside of taste?
I feel like it depends on your preference. What are you looking for in a wine? Do you want a sweet wine? Something that you can just drink on occasion with friends, a special occasion wine. So I just feel like it just all depends on what you're looking for. Like I drink Pinot Noir, so that's a dry red wine. It's a little lighter. So, I look for something, to be honest, I look at the alcohol content first, the year that the grapes were picked. So that's the year that's on the front of the bottle. It's the year that the grapes were picked. So I look at that. I kind of go for like older wines if I can find something that's like maybe 3 or 4 years old. Those tend to be great wines. My wine is usually fresh, but with those dry red wines, I try to go something that's a little older, 2 or 3 years, and that kind of like gives it a good age. A tad bit more potent, it matures a little bit, so it's better. So it just all depends on your style, really.
And so for yours, I know that your wines are relatively sweet. I'm wondering, like in the future, do you plan on kind of making one that's a little drier and a little more tart?
Yeah, they're coming in August, actually. I'll start doing promo for those in August, and they will release right after Summer Edition, so it'll be releasing in September. I can't really say which ones are coming. I kind of keep things as a suspense, and kind of like surprise. You kind of just have to just wait and see when I start promoting it, like what exactly I want to do. But they definitely are coming though. Like I said, I'll start promoting those in August, and then they will be releasing in September.
Well, you got me like on the edge of my seat, kind of like when people are waiting for their new Jordans outside of the store.
Yeah. That's what I like. I like the anticipation that my company brings when it comes to like releasing things. So I don't let people taste it before it comes out. I usually have an events to release my events. To release my new wines. So yeah, it's kind of just, you kind of just have to wait and see. But the reputation of my brand is building. So people know that when I have an event or if I'm releasing something new, it's going to be good. So people are excited for it.
Well, due to COVID, are you going to be able to have a new event for your upcoming summer wine?
I'm praying. We're starting to get a little daylight when it comes to things being open. So hopefully, by end of June, we should have, you know, a green light on us having gatherings. So hopefully, but yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know when it's going to be over, but like I said, hopefully soon. And then, you know, as soon as it's over, then we'll definitely start planning. Me and King Lou, we're definitely excited to get back out here. We, you know, we provide, you know, great safe events for like our upscale elegant crowd. So, you know, we just want to, you know, get back to that and really keep it going, you know, as far as the brand.
I agree. I look forward to it so that way I can come and get my share.
Yeah, definitely.
So Dominic, kind of, what is one of the hardest things about winemaking, you know, year in and year out?
Well, I feel like it's different for every company. You know, for me, I would have to say the hardest thing right now is keeping it in stock. A lot of these companies don't have that problem, you know, but that's been my thing, just because, you know, I have a wine that is really selling, you know, like I might sell 400 bottles in a weekend. You know, companies, you know, really aren't selling that much. So, you know, that's been my struggle, really just trying to keep everything in stock and, you know, keep it moving, honestly.
Well, for you, that's a win-win for now, you know,
Yeah,
especially,
definitely.
you know, with COVID shutting so much stuff down. It's like, okay, yeah, all the Mars are closing, but your business is booming. And with you being a small business owner, that's a win. You
Yeah,
know?
definitely. So yeah, I'm definitely blessed when it comes to that. You know, it's definitely a great problem to have when, you know, you have to worry about trying to keep it in stock because it keeps selling out. You know, it could just be sitting in my shop collecting dust. So, you know, it comes in and it goes right out. So, you know, I'm definitely blessed when it comes to that.
I mean, I'm happy for you. I'm glad that, you know, you're thriving in this time of, I guess, uncertainty is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, because I know I work for the hospital system, and, you know, I'm thankful that I'm able to work remotely, but I know that there's so many people who are struggling.
Yeah.
You know? So in your case, I'm very happy for you, and, you know, and all that good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. I was just talking to one of my mentors really just like an hour or so before we got on, and we were just, you know, laughing about it. You know, basically just talking about, you know, it being a crisis, but, you know, we're booming. So, you know, everybody that's in this field and other wineries that I have relationships with, we just, you know, sit and just talk and laugh about it. Really, you know, you know, the world is in a crisis, but, you know, our business is like really going crazy now. So.
Well, yeah, and then, you know, you're doing it. Like you just said, so many people want to jump on the bandwagon now that the product is here.
Yeah. That's with anything though. You know, when you I feel like when you're granted a vision, you're the only one who can like really see it to its full potential. Like people who support you may see it, but not the way you do. So, you know, you may have a huge sight for it, but, you know, the people are like, man, I don't know about that. You know, but people have to really see it to believe it. And that's the gift and the curse of being a visionary. You know, you have these great visions and know in your heart that you can make it happen. But the curse is you have to sit in those visions alone because, you know, sometimes they're so big that people can't grasp really what you're trying to do.
Absolutely, you're right. And, you know, like you said, with you having this vision and you putting forth everything, you know, taking the time to perfect your product instead of just some people just throw it out there and they're like, oh, I got something finished, but it's no good.
And that's funny you say that. I went through that a lot with a lot of family members, especially my parents, because I had this vision about how I wanted my bottle to look with the metal label and the cork and just everything. And I was spending a lot of money, and my parents were really starting to get concerned about you know, the amount of money that I was spending on my brand, and they really didn't understand because of course they don't have a business, so like, you know, having a business mind and it's just different than, you know, anything else. Like if you don't, then you just really wouldn't understand, honestly. But they were trying to get me to put a paper label on on the bottle just because my metal labels were super expensive at the time. And they was trying to get me to get a regular cork and do a regular bottle just to like get it out there to start selling it. And I really didn't want to do that. You know, I knew exactly how I wanted it to be. And I wasn't going to deviate from that plan.
Well, I'm glad you stuck with that. I mean, you stayed with your first mind and stayed with your vision despite all the naysaying. And I think too, that's what I think also attracted me to the bottle when I first saw it. I said, wow, this is different than other wine bottles that I've seen, even the ones that I've seen out of the country when I did my study abroad.
Yeah, and that's how I was when I first got the idea. I spent about 45 minutes to an hour in Giant Eagle's wine section, and just walking around, just looking at the different wines, and I'm just like, okay, so if I'm coming in the store to buy wine, and I don't know any of these bottles, like all these names and all these bottles are foreign, what would make me buy it? So I'm just walking around looking like, man, that's interesting. And I seen, I forget the name of the wine, but it has like a rose petal, like at the bottom, like engraved inside of the bottle. And then the top had like a crystal cork similar to mine, but a little bit different. And I'm just like, man, that's a nice bottle. Like if, I would buy that. So that's what kind of got me on spending a lot of time and energy in making a bottle that would grab people's attention. And then, of course, after that, I wanted to perfect the taste. Of course, you see a nice bottle, you want to get it, but of course, you want something that tastes good as well. So, the taste came after. But definitely the bottle, if you see a nice bottle, chances are you're going to buy it.
Well, just like when you're shopping for anything, if it looks pretty, you're going to be like, oh, I want that.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's how I felt with yours. And the minute that I opened it, I was like, oh my goodness. I said, this is local? What?
Yeah. Not for long.
Right. Soon to be internationally known. And you'll go down in history as thriving during COVID.
Definitely, yeah. That's my end goal. People always ask me what's my end goal with it. That's really what it is, because when it comes to liquor, anywhere you go in the world, you can get Hennessy, you can get Ciroc, you can get Patron. Like I want it to be to wherever they sell wine, you can get Lamont Avenue.
So what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned throughout this process of winemaking?
Being patient is probably the biggest thing. My cousin King Lou, she just tell me all the time, just relax. It's gonna happen. Just relax, And really, when it comes to spending the money, you kind of get anxious, when you're just putting out. And at the time in the beginning, like nothing's really coming in. You kind of like try to rush it, to get it out just so you can make some money. But I ran into a huge problem with doing that. I'm not going to get into that today. It'll be in my book. It's going to be in my book that I'm releasing. But I ran into a huge problem with trying to rush, and it put me back months. And it was crazy. So just being patient, just kind of just letting things happen. Still work hard, but don't force anything. Really, it's the biggest lesson that I have learned.
Well, and then patience is what drives the results, because it's like trial and error.
Yeah.
Like you said from the beginning of you trying to create it, the first batch or two that you made, that you're just like, what in the world is this liquid that I just tasted?
Right, yeah. I didn't refuel, got me some more wine.
Oh, where's my glass at?
Yeah.
You remind me of me whenever I listen to my own podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, I really said that on air? Holy crap. So, I critique myself a lot. And I'm sure you probably do that. I'm sure you probably do that as well with your product. So Dominic, this is kind of a random question, but did you study winemaking in school or anything? Because I know some people do, but I'm like, I'm just going to ask.
No, I haven't. Like I said, it stemmed from my cousin having going through that health thing that he went through, and it kind of just was something that we just did. he, like I said, we just started drinking a lot of wine, and then kind of just stemmed from there. So, no, I didn't study. At the time when I first started going through the like trying to build the company, I did a lot of research on how to taste wine and other things like that, but nothing like super serious, because it's a lot that goes into wine, and there's like a million different wines and how to taste them, and just it's just a lot. And I honestly, haven't got into it for real. I mean, there's only like 200, like 20 or 30 like wine specialists in the world, so it's very deep. I don't know if you've seen the movie Uncorked on Netflix, but they go into detail about a lot of that stuff. But it never was something that I wanted to do. I never wanted to be a wine specialist. I just wanted to have something that carried my family name, have something that looked very nice and also tastes very good, and something that, people would enjoy. But I never wanted to be a specialist. That's not what my...
You have to taste. It's like being on those like chef shows like Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow. I mean, but that's really cool though. And you said that you did a lot of your research and stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. I started on YouTube. When I first got the idea and started really running with it, I started on YouTube. And, from the looks of it, it looked easy and something that I can do. But of course, when you look at something and versus you doing it are totally different. So, and that's what I tell people who ask me all the time, like, oh, well, I want to start my own wine company. I'm like, okay, but it's just so much that goes into it. But that's the first thing I tell people is just start on YouTube, start there, and just do your research. Everything is pretty much on the internet. You can really self-educate yourself on anything.
And let's go back to that self-education. You use YouTube, and I'm sure, like you said, you get a lot of people who ask you, well, how did you start? How did you filter through a lot of, I guess, trash that's online as far as, teaching you how to do this and that?
Well, I feel like with that subject, like it's only people online that are really doing it. I don't, like how some other subjects or other things that people try to teach you, it may be like garbage, but with something like that, like people who really do wine are really on YouTube making videos to try to help people. So like, I don't feel like that applies to, the wine business. Like people that are on there making videos are really trying to help people, get started and making wine. So.
And see, that's good. I feel like now the best thing about technology is that you can learn anything because of YouTube, because of how big it is. And, you can watch a 2-minute video on how to change your tire or something. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, everything's on there. I mean, I feel like, well, Meek Mill said it. He said this is the easiest time for people to get rich. People are accessible more than they have ever been. You can connect with anybody now through the via internet. So like, this is the easiest time. If you put in the work, I mean, you can make it. So it all depends on how bad you want it at the end of the day.
Well, you said it, put in the work. That's the problem.
Yeah. And I had a lot of days, even with, me talking to my cousin, we had a lot of days where it was just like, I don't want to do this. I'm spending too much money. It's just too much, So you're going to have them days, but you just have to, have endurance. That's the biggest thing when it comes to this. You have to have the strength to go through things. It's going to be hard. You just have to just keep going. And just believe in your product, and just know that, and believe in your ideas and your vision, and just know that, at the end of the road, you're going to make it. And that's what I believe. I'm just talking to my sister. She's in Virginia. I was talking about how much money I've spent. We just start talking about, the expenses and other things. But, I believe in my product, and I know that it's going to be great. So at the end of the day, the money that's being spent now isn't going to compare to what I'll have in the end. Yeah,
what's coming forth for you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's not even a whole % of what I'll have. So
absolutely. And
just bigger picture.
And Dominic, most wines pair well with, certain types of food. Have you figured out what foods pair well with your wine just yet?
Yeah, I use for both of my events, I pretty much had the same menu. I had a chicken dish, shrimp, and I had a beef dish. I discontinued my Cabernet for a while, so that's why I had the beef dish. The beef pairs well with the Cabernet. The Riesling pairs with the chicken and shrimp, and I had a bunch of different desserts to pair with my sweeter wines as a dessert wine.
Like double the sweet, huh? That's like a
Yeah,
cavity coming all in.
yeah. I had a bunch of different things. Working with different upcoming people, bakeries in Cleveland, and yeah, we had different desserts, different cheesecakes and cakes and cookies and everything else. Anything you could think of was there. So, I use those things to pair with the different wines. But yeah, those things go very well.
I would have never thought to pair a sweet wine with something else sweet.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing when I first looked it up for my first event. I was just trying to, like, online again, just researching different wines that pair with different things, and just try to build my menu based off what would pair with the wines that I had. And, I seen it, and I was like, that's double trouble, but that's what it pairs with. It pairs with different desserts. So,
Huh. You learn something new every day, because I would have never thought that at all.
yeah. And the different chefs and bakeries that I use actually use my wine for like different sauces and drizzles for the different desserts and foods. So that was something nice that we had at both events as well.
And that's great, because then it's like, your product continues to be, marketed, not just, through you and through your Instagram page, but also through other people.
Correct.
So I'm happy to hear that for you. Great stuff. So out of your 3 wines that you currently have, which one is your favorite?
The Riesling. I will go with the Riesling. I'm a red wine drinker. Like I said, I drink Pinot Noir, but out of my 3, I will go with the Riesling. One, my parents and my auntie's favorite wine is the Riesling, and 2, because you can add different fruits in it. Well, you can use different fruits for the sweeter ones, but putting pineapple in the Riesling is just amazing. I had it last night, and it's super good.
You're a red winer, but you're gonna go with your Riesling. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my Riesling. Yeah, I go with the Riesling. The Riesling is really good. Like I said, a lot of friends of mine actually use the Riesling for mimosas instead of champagne.
Wow.
Yeah. So like the Riesling is a hit. It's kind of like it's a sleeper. A lot of people go for the sweeter ones, but that Riesling is really good. I mean, it's not really like dry. It's like it's like semi-sweet. It's like in the middle. But the Riesling is really good. And the bottle looks, and the Riesling actually is the nicest looking bottle to me. Honestly, I feel like that silver label with the blue meshes well with the crystal cork. It's just the best to me. I would go with the Riesling as far as look and taste. But of course, I love my other ones as well. But if I had to pick one, I'd go with the Riesling.
I'm a red girl too, so I prefer red. But I will say I enjoyed all 3. I did. Hence why I had to buy a second batch from you, because the company came and took what they wanted.
Yeah, we got to keep it coming. We got to get that company over down on St. Clair to get them some as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dominic, how did you come up with the names for your 3 wines that you have? Is it based on like what you used in them, or?
No, my grandmother. Every time I get a new wine, I take it to my grandmother and I let her drink it. And I sit down with her, and she gives me names with everything. She gave my daughter her name, my wines their names. Like every time I need a name for something, I always go to her. So she actually named everything. I kept the Riesling, of course, the original name, but the Orchid and the Paradise came from my grandmother.
Aw, that's sweet. So when your granny picked names, did she pick them kind of like based on taste, or did she like maybe have, I don't know, a book or something nearby?
Yeah, that's a great question. I honestly don't know how she come up with the name. I mean, she gave my daughter her middle name, Denise. That was like one of like her grandmother's names or great grandmother's names or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, she gives me different names, and I kind of just I go with them.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Hey, Granny knows best. If Granny knows how to pick the name, hey, I think it works.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I got a lot of great advice from my grandparents. I mean, I probably have the best grandparents you could ever have. My grandfather was by far the funniest, realest man I've ever met in my life. But yeah, I got a lot of advice from my grandparents as far as just relationship-wise. They were married 60 years, so I got a lot of insight on really how to make a relationship last. From them. And money. My grandmother had a 800 credit score since before I could even walk. So, just an insight on everything. They really taught me a lot and really motivated me to be the man that I am today. So I appreciate them more than anything.
and that's great. I mean, it's good to have positive role models, because I think I'm a firm believer in the quote, "The more you see, the more you want to be."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I receive that.
And I grew up in the house where, all of my great grandma and my mom were teachers. So, I learned firsthand.
Yeah, we and that's funny you said that, because I worked for CMSD before I really started doing the company full time. I was a teacher assistant for Marion Sterling, second grade ED, and I also coached the 8th grade basketball team. And my cousin King Lou was also in the district. He does special ed over at Kennedy, and he's also the athletic director over there. A lot of my other close friends and family are in the district as well. So we work good with kids, and really just showing the youth that we come from the same spot that you come from, but you can be more than a basketball player or a rapper. That's kind of what the narrative is. That's being portrayed on the internet, that you have to be a rapper or an athlete to make it or to have money or be successful. So we just really just want to show, our people that's coming up underneath us that, you can do more. And there's more out here than that.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, you're doing it. The fact that you started with the school district and now look at you, you have a product in front of you that is growing very quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I said, I wish you the best. I know that it's going to take off, and it already has for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like I said, I'm super excited for this weekend, just to see what's in store, really. We have a lot of connections down there that we have a lot of people we have got up with. So I'm just super excited to see how that goes this week. And then really just step back from the company for a while. I have helped, my cousin and my parents and other close friends help me with different things, but, I really just need a break from it. I wasn't able to celebrate my 1-year anniversary, which was March 16th due to the virus. So, I'm really just looking forward just to step away from my company and just seeing it, from a break standpoint, and not really like being in it, just stepping out of it for a while just to see where I can improve different things or different marketing things, and just step away. I just need a quick break from it, and then I'll come back next weekend, ready to
grind again.
yeah, ready to get back to it. I haven't, and that's one thing with me. Like I work very, very hard. Like yesterday was my first time sleeping in my bed since last Monday. I work, I also work a job as well. So like I work and I do my company, I do deliveries, I bottle wine, I label bottles all during the day into the night. And then I work at a group home third shift. So like I really sleep, like last night I was able to sleep in my bed, but like it's, my body it's foreign to my body now. Like I can't sleep more than really 3-4 hours at a time, just because my body is so used to just being on go. And, you know, people keep telling me I need to rest, I need to sit down, but like, I just can't. Like, my body is just programmed this way now. I'm just in, you know, super grind mode. I have a super focus right now. And, you know, my supporting cast is, you know, I don't even have the words for them. You know, they're coming down with me to help me out in Miami this week. So, you know, I'm just focused, man. I have a great momentum, and I just want to just keep it going.
I hear that. Thank you, Dominic, for coming on and telling us about your journey through, you know, from the beginning all the way up until now, where you're running out of wine every week, you know, despite COVID. I mean, you're really doing something. It's great to see. You know, I'm very happy for you. I'm very proud of you. And I'm glad that I'm glad that you are taking a different approach. Like you just said, you know, there's more to us. There's more to being successful than just being a musician and an athlete.
Right. Definitely. Way more to life than that, you know. There's so many avenues to, you know, be successful. But a lot of people measure their success on money. I don't. I measure my success on how many people that I positively influence and make their lives better. So people say, "Oh, you're successful. You got a company." Like, I feel like I was successful the first couple of days of me starting working at Marion Sterling, when I started impacting these children's lives, and, you know, these kids looking up to me, and they call me any time of the day, or me coaching them and different things like that. Like, that's my success. So I never measure my success on the amount of money I have, because money comes and go. I didn't had big money before and also been piss poor before. So like, I never measured it on money.
And that's good. I mean, because money is quick to come in your hand as quick as it is gone.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you measure your success or your happiness on it, then, you know, God forbid, you know, your life turns, then, you know, a lot of people lose their mind. That's why we see a lot of these rich people jumping off of buildings and all this other crazy, man, just because they measure their life on money or possessions and this and that. But that's something that I have never done.
Well, then money
I
too.
like nice things. Don't get me wrong. I like nice things, but you know, I don't measure my happiness or my success on it, because it's material, and it can, as quick as it comes, it can go.
Well, absolutely, and money is temporary happiness. You know, I've met so many people who, yeah, they're way more wealthier than I am monetary wise, but on the inside, their spirit is poor.
Yeah, true. And I feel like money only enhances the person that you are. So I feel like if you're a great person, you're a helpful person, you help people, you give. If you have a lot of money, you're just going to do that on a bigger scale. And, you know, on the other end, if you're a terrible person, money is just only going to enhance, you know, the way that you know what I'm saying, try to control, manipulate, and, you know, destroy people. You know, like, I feel like money only enhances the person that you are. I feel like it, you know, in my opinion.
I agree. Absolutely. I definitely agree. Well, Dominic, we're about to wrap up here. Just one last question for you. What advice can you offer our listeners today, whether it's somebody who is potentially interested in getting into, you know, producing their own wine, or even, you know, somebody who's currently producing their own wine and maybe they're not where you are at the moment?
For my people who want to get into business or have an idea, the best advice I can give is just stay true to your vision. Don't let family or friends or anybody else try to manipulate or dictate the vision that you have. You know, I feel like, you know, if you stay true to that, God, or however a lot of people view it, or the universe, or however, you know, you view that, I feel like it will respond to you. You know, God will test you to see, you say you want it, but God will test to see how much you really want it. So I feel like you have to really stay true and stay of course to the things that you say that you want. So really just staying on course with that, and just seeing it through, you know, believe in yourself and don't let anybody, you know, take you off track. You know, it's kind of cliche, but people say that you can have whatever you want if you work hard for it or whatever. You can be whatever you want. But, you know, it's true. You know, if you work hard enough, you can make it. So just, you know, really just staying true to your vision is the best advice that I can give. And don't be scared to jump out there into it. You know, it's going to be hard at first. You're going to spend a lot of money. You may mess up. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's all worth it.